Hari Om, Namaskar. A lady was driving a car and she bumped into another car. And the police came, said, "What happened?" She said, "It's not my fault." She was saying, "This is not my fault. You see that guy, he is drinking and he was on a phone. It's not my fault." The police officer looked at her and said, "Ma'am, you bumped into his car in his backyard. You have bumped into his car in his backyard. And now you're telling that is his fault." We have too many people sitting in our backyard and telling us what we have to do, how we should celebrate, how Diwali should be meaningful. My grandmother taught me how Diwali should be meaningful. Her grandmother taught her how to keep Diwali meaningful. We don't want somebody coming and telling us Diwali has to be meaningful. For a long time, we also played it low, saying, okay, it's a passing statement here, there, people will do, they'll change, that way. But I think time has come where we become more vocal about what we feel, that we can't sit down, somebody coming into my backyard and telling me what I should do. That should end, and we should raise our voice together. Now, Diwali is such a lovely festival. I'm sure most of you, when these kind of interferences were not there, how you celebrated Diwali would always be in your memory. Even today, I remember my childhood days with Diwali. I cannot think of my childhood absence of Diwali. Getting up early, getting new clothes, visiting a temple. And then there's nice feast. And then we sit and burst crackers, fireworks, with your friends, with your cousins. Very, very memorable. And we keep looking forward for Diwali to come. It's such a colorful festival of ours, festival of lights. Before I go into the significance of it, Hinduism, you have to understand one thing. When, let us say, sage Valmiki writes Ramayana, recorded Ramayana, Itihasa, that which has happened, historical events, he recorded. But Valmiki's aim is just not to write history. He's not a historian. He's a spiritual teacher who used history to enlighten people. So in Valmiki's Ramayana, you will see poetry, you will see factual incidents, you will see symbolism, mysticism, and that's how he wrote. Much later, after Valmiki, Vyasa wrote the Bhagavad, the 18 Puranas, the Mahabharata, etc. Both these people used historical incidents to web beautiful, meaningful celebrations of various festivals. So if you see, their approach would be all accommodative. All accommodative. The primitive and the sublime would be accommodative. You can find in Valmiki's Ramayana all schools of thought. Dvaita school of thought, Visishta Dvaita school of thought, the Advaita school of thought. One who reads, even the Vyasa, the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, both the warriors, what they spoke, which Vyasa compiled. If you see, that also has the same. Ramanujacharya has commented on Bhagavad Gita. Madhvacharya has commented on the Bhagavad Gita. Shankaracharya has commented on the Bhagavad Gita. Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita. You see these masters. The books are written in a way to accommodate. Same way, Hindu festivals have two layers: subjective, internal, and external. And both are required. Both are necessary. We cannot only say internal. If you have reached that internal level of celebrating a festival, well and good. But somebody is still down there. They need the external levels of celebrating it to look within. So this is how all our festivals are celebrated. There is a subjective part of it, and there is a outside celebration, external part of it. Both are so beautifully connected if you see them. Just like Valmiki Ramayana accommodates all schools of thought. Vyasa's literary work accommodates all schools of thought. Festivals also accommodate subjective and external, spiritual and ritual. It is a combination, and both are absolutely required. Now, coming to Diwali is such a fascinating festival. It is called Festival of Lights. And this one festival is connected to all yugas. In Satya Yuga, Lakshmi manifested on this day. Now imagine Goddess Lakshmi, goddess of prosperity, manifested on this day. We worship Goddess Lakshmi in Diwali because she manifested. And externally worshipping her would naturally make us look within, and we can start the wealth inside also to unfold. So worshipping Lakshmi is very important. So please don't ignore. Do a perfect Lakshmi Puja. Swami Shardananda, who will speak after me, will tell you how to do these things and how to do this kind of puja, how well we can perform that. He would do it. So one is Goddess Lakshmi manifested in Satya Yuga on Diwali. We celebrate. In the Treta Yuga, there was fight between Ram and Ravan. Ravan took away Sita. Rama has to go bring back. Sita again is Lakshmi, incarnation. Ram has to bring it back. Now, the 10-day war, on the 10th day, which is Vijayadashami, Rama destroys Ravan and starts returning back to Ayodhya, where he left Ayodhya 14 years ago. His entry back to Ayodhya, every street in Ayodhya were welcoming Ram with lights. Grand festival, because he was their beloved Lord, beloved King, who took on himself to keep a word. Imagine the value. For Ram, the kingdom and the word which is given, he considered the word to be higher than him sitting on the throne, because he knew his brother Bharat was equally good. So Ram chose the forest, saying, let my brother rule. My father's word has to be honored. And he went. He chose the higher over the lower, went, stayed 14 years, killed the demon king, returned back, and whole Ayodhya was in celebration. I was in Ayodhya 2 years ago on this day. And what a celebration it was. The way in which the streets, even today, almost every street is lit there. So that tradition continues. And if naturally Ram belongs to us. And we celebrate. Now, this is beautiful program. And there is subjective also. Ravan, the 10-headed monster. 10 senses are extrovert, which is full of greed, loot and plunder, steal something. If you see something, cannot control, go and grab it. Absolutely negative qualities. That has to be slaughtered. And Ram did that. Now, naturally, we also have something inside, and we need to destroy that negative. The Ravan inside also should go. Now, you understand there are two, external and internal. That is the beauty. The festivals accommodate both. Subjectively, I should do it. Externally, I should celebrate, because that's the role model Ram we had. That was in Treta Yuga. And then you see Diwali being celebrated for another reason in Dwapar Yuga. There was this asura called Narakasura. Look at the name. Naraka. Narakasura. Asuric tendencies which keeps us in Naraka. He has to be destroyed. You cannot allow something which could make us captive in hell. That has to be destroyed. So Krishna went, destroyed Narakasura. That is why it is called Naraka Chaturdasi. After destroying, after annihilating Narakasura, then they know that this captive hell is no more. People have set themselves free. They started celebrating. All this fall in these 4 or 5 days. So Diwali for us is a festival which extends for 4 or 5 days. And we celebrate because these are the things which has enriched us. So this is how we celebrate. Naraka, why we celebrate Diwali, Lakshmi, Lord Ram, and Lord Krishna. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. In 3 yugas, something is celebrated, and all the while we celebrated it meaningfully. And now we are in Kali Yuga. We take inspiration from the past and we celebrate. We are not going and asking people to do, like I'm not going into somebody else's backyard. I do it where I am. And this country belongs to us. And we have celebrated it for years and bringing in terminologies which we would find very difficult to understand, using these kind of terms continuously, making a Hindu feel guilty to celebrate his festivals. This should stop. In the beginning, when we started the program, you saw Pratik talking about every Hindu festival, there is some issue. Be it Holi, be it Janmashtami, be it Diwali, be it Ganesh Chaturthi, every Hindu festival, be it Raksha Bandhan, any Hindu festival, because festivals unite us. Festivals keep our economy going. Festivals connect us so well, and keep hitting it, take away it. Basically, I think this is a very deep agenda in just making a Hindu festival as a social festival. Take away the rituals, take away the significance, take away the prayers, make it a social festival. To many people, unfortunately, Diwali is a day when new movies are released. At 4 a.m., the theaters are open. Can you believe? And people rush to watch the movie that day. So, and then in the television, you will have some new movie played that day. This is not Diwali. We have our own ways of celebrating, and these were the most beautiful things. But it has ended today to something like this. This is alarming, and this needs to be alerted. That a festival can't go like this. Its meaning has to be understood. Its significance has to be understood, and we should celebrate. Now coming to the last point, crackers. Oh, crackers were not in India. A conclusion made. And somebody with a PhD will come and tell you. And why these people do, some people who do PhD with a deep intent of dismantling. So they come and say, no, Diwali was without crackers always. No. Gunpowder was in India. Even the Chinese historians have recognized gunpowder. There are temples in my country where people burst crackers as puja. Go to Kerala, you will see. How many temples in Kerala where puja is performed, like an archana, crackers are done. Sound has its own value and people have their own faith. Both has to be respected. And in Pitru Paksha, Malya Amavasya, the Pitru Paksha, it is our belief that the ancestors come from Pitru Loka. They come and they are with us, and we are sending them back. A gratitude to the ancestors are very important. Pitru Yajna is one of the 5 yajnas we have to perform. What is that gratitude? What they have given us, we must preserve it, hand it over to the next generation. What they have given us, we should know to live, preserve it, hand it over to the next generation. This is our gratitude. And to those Pitrus who are going back, that day there is a great celebration, and people used to use lights and lamps and crackers up, showing up in the sky saying, we are all happy, thanks for coming, now you go back to your planes, we worship, we respect your time, you came for us, now continue your journey. And this was a practice. So firecrackers were not there in India is wrong. We had it in different way. And naturally, anything which you invent has a technology. Nobody's using the same old Nokia phone, right? The phone has improved. You're using different phones, but first what came was something different. Similarly, we had country bombs, country fireworks we had, but over a period of time, the innovation happened. And once the innovation happened, you heard Gurudev saying, Hinduism is a religion which will move according to the times. So when there was innovation coming in, we said, this is beautiful. These are fireworks. Anyway, we were doing differently. We'll add more color to it. And we started using them. Naturally, these kind of fireworks were not there earlier, but that's the beauty of it, that earlier practice is taken and done. And we have done this for a few hundred years. And suddenly few people join and continuously doing it until we voice back. They will continue to do this. So we need to voice out and say, listen, people, we are a harmless society. We worship nature. We will celebrate as we want. Don't interfere. Don't mess in my backyard. I have a right, basic right of me. It is my faith. And crackers are not stopped across. The people who are coming and promoting, when they win a match in the stadium, they bust crackers. Take it away. That's only a celebration. Here it is religion. It is faith. And how can we unsettle people's faith? So this is wrong. So it's time we stand up and we speak and we voice it out that we will celebrate how we want. Nobody will force you. In Hinduism, there is no force. If you are not going to bust crackers, nobody will say anything. If you bust crackers, nobody can say anything. Isn't it? It is not controlled by a priest. Oh, today you did not bust crackers. We will take action on you. No. There is nobody controlling. It's such a dharma of so much of freedom. Don't fall into these traps. What you feel like celebrating with crackers, please do it. I do it every year. I don't fall into this trap. Every year we do it. So go to a temple this Diwali. Start that culture again. Go to a temple. It's nice. Most of you come to our centers, Chinmaya Mission centers, or to other centers. That's lovely. We also have an altar and all that. But over and above that, visit a temple. Go to a temple, nearby temple. Wish your friends. Understand something more about Diwali. And now Swami Sharadananda will tell you how to do a puja. Perform it that way. And celebrate with sound and light. And that is Bharat, land of light. Bha means Bhaskara. We are citizens of Bharat, people who love light. Light is knowledge. Light is, everything beautiful is associated with light. Consciousness is also called light. So we are the citizens of Bharat, and let us celebrate how our ancestors celebrated. Thank you very much.